Hello and welcome. Let us take a very deep look into the Fabfilter equalizer, in this case the Q2. The Q3 and its advantages will be shown and discussed in another video. This one will focus on the Q2 only, but almost all of the information about this tool can be used in the Q3 as well. So this equalizer is one of the most advanced and flexible VST tools to control your frequency spectrum which I have ever used. Let's go through all the features and functions so you can see what this thing is really capable of. No matter if you use this VST tool or not, this video will provide tons of new information either way. Let's start with the interface. In the bottom right corner you can adjust the size of the window. You can also change it to full screen right above here. Escape to go back to normal. At the top right corner you can also change the displayed loudness range. If you reach that range with any editing, it will be expanded automatically. Zooming to a particular frequency might be useful sometimes. Just hover over the scale right here and zoom in or out with your mouse wheel. Or just click and move the mouse for a much more efficient way to zoom. Double left click on the scale to return back to normal. Down here at the very left you can show up a piano display. By dragging the points down here you can change the frequency of a band to the exact note displayed on the virtual piano. We won't address MIDI and latency right now, just keep the default latency settings and I will tell you why you should probably do that in almost any situation anyway in the next video. But here in the middle we can switch between the mid mono signal with the two sides left and right and the standard stereo setup with left and right. A little more to the right you can adjust the spectrum analyzer. You can display the pre-EQ'd, pass-EQ'd and sidechain signal. Also very specific changes can and often should be made, especially the resolution can display much more detailed information which you can see pretty well on the low end right here. I will keep the range at 90 dB. The speed will also improve the precision of the information the analyzer gives us. Setting it too fast will show you much more detail about the dynamics. The last adjustment which can be made is the tilt. So the default setting is set to tilt when showing the spectrum. It basically increases high frequencies and decreases low frequencies. So to get a much more realistic spectrum, just set it to 0 dB. Now I would call it a really good spectrum analyzer. Just keep in mind, these changes will take up more CPU. So use this as an analyzer on your master or set the settings back to default when you're finished using it on a single channel. Just hover over the analyzer to freeze it to the peaks of your audio signal. This function can be disabled right here, because you can also do it by just pressing the freeze button right beside it. I use it that way because I don't want to show the peaks anytime I hover over the spectrum analyzer because I don't use the freeze option that much. A Q match will be addressed in the second part of this series. After setting up your interface, let's now learn how to use it. Just double click for a new band or control and left click on the point you want to add the new EQ band. Click on the low end or high end for a high or low cut. Click on the middle for a bell filter or drag the new filter in from the side to create a low or high shelf equalizer band. Choose a band with left click. Press Ctrl to select multiple bands. Or instead draw a square over the bands you want to choose. If you press Shift and then select a band, it will also select the consecutive bands. To deselect, just click anywhere on the background. There are a couple of ways how to change the parameters of the equalizer. Just select one band and change the Q factor with your mouse wheel. Just press Ctrl and move your mouse up and down for the same result. The fastest way to edit a band in general is probably just using the mouse to drag the band where you want to have it in terms of gain and frequency, and with the mouse wheel you can then also change the slope so you can edit all the parameters in one go. If you know exactly what number you want to use, you just double click on the editor knobs or double click on the band and type in the exact number. you can toggle between Q factor, slope and frequency with tab. When you enter any number when editing your frequency, you can also choose different scales. So just type in the note A2 to set it to the frequency 110. Or type in 2K for 2000. For precise changes, you can also press Shift and then use the knobs down here. You can also use your mouse wheel when hovering over the knobs. Instead, you can also press Shift and simply drag the band with your mouse. By pressing Alt when moving a band, you can keep your gain and slope. This works for gain and frequency. Both can be combined with Shift for precision, and everything can be used with multiple bands. To redo or undo anything, press the buttons up here or press Ctrl Z or Y instead. Press the gain Q interaction button between the gain and Q factor for an analog EQ like gain and Q interaction. Changing the slope or gain will now influence each other. This only works with well filters and will be applied to all of them. Right next to it you can switch between bands and also decide their stereo position right here. Press Alt and click on a band to bypass it. You can also bypass down here as well. And also you can right click and then disable. Here you can also change almost anything, such as the shape, slope or even right and mid positions. You can clone the band to the opposite stereo side by clicking Split. Just select both to move them and edit them together simultaneously. Or delete the band completely, also possible in the menu down below. By pressing on the headphone symbol, you can solo any band you want. Drag it there to change the gain and frequency. Scale it with the mouse wheel or by holding Ctrl while moving the mouse in any direction. When you use the solo function with a low or high pass filter, you will hear the frequencies which are being cut away from your audio signal. Now let's talk about the output options we have. The first button here is the global bypass button to bypass the whole equalizer. You can then try to hear what the plugin is actually doing. The next one is the phase invert button, which will flip the phase of your audio signal. The A stands for auto gain, so the plugin will automatically compensate any gain loss after the EQing. The last in the row is the on and off button for the output level metering. The scale above can determine if the overall gains of the bands are increased or decreased. And now finally we have the output gain and output panning. But I don't really use the plugin for anything like that, so I compensate gain loss and change the panning later in the mixing process. But knowing these features can't be harmful. It seems that we are coming to an end here. I hope I could provide some interesting information for you. There are a few things which we didn't address right now, but don't worry, the next part will come very soon. If you have any questions or any thoughts, just leave a comment down below. Also check out our music, free samples on our website, our Instagram and so on. Everything can be found in the description. Have a good day, thanks for watching and see you next time.